This is a Voronoi question, and we're given a diagram of the Voronoi diagram. So you can see there you've got points A, B, and C, and then they're your sites, and then you've also got point V as an intersection. So it says that the perpendicular bisector of BC, so that's this one here, crosses through the coordinates 0, -1 and 2, 0. So it's telling us these two coordinates that it crosses through, and we need to use that to write down an equation of the perpendicular bisector. So using these 2 points, that could help us to find the gradient, and we also know where it crosses the y-axis, so then we have our full equation. So the gradient is the change in y over the change in x. So the change in y here is 0 minus -1, so 0 minus -1, all over, and then it's the change in x, so 2 minus 0. So that gives me 1 over 2, and therefore 1/2. Now, normally we would then find the perpendicular bisector. However, on this question, that's actually giving us the full gradient. We don't need to find the perpendicular. We already have the full gradient. So we know that the form of a straight line equation is y equals mx plus b. So in this situation, we don't really even need to use the formula y minus y1. We can just use this one here. So y is equal to, we know the gradient is 1/2 of x, and then we also know that it crosses at -1 on the y-axis. So it's just y equals 1/2 x minus 1. And then part B says the equation of the perpendicular bisector to AB, so that's this one here, AB, is -3x plus 23. Find the coordinates of V. Well, if we know the equation of this and we know the equation of this line, where they intersect is the coordinates of V. So we're going to use that to help us to find them. So we're going to go to our calculator, and we have 2 equations here. We have the one that I just found, y equals 1/2 x minus 1, and we also have the y equals -3x plus 23 that the question gave to us. We're going to type both of those into our calculator. So 1/2 of x minus 1, and then the second equation there is -3x plus 23. And from that, we can then graph it. Now we might need to sort our window out a little bit. So you can see here we don't actually have the origin at all. So let's just type this as -5 to, let's say, 15. And let's do the same on the y-axis, -5 to 15. And now we can see we have this intersection. So we can do second function, trace, intersect. We get close to the intersection point on either of the lines, and then we press enter again, and we can see that we have this point of intersection. So to 3 significant figures, the x coordinate there is 6.86, and the y coordinate is 2.43. So now we have the coordinate of where the intersection happens, or the coordinates of V. And we then need to construct the Voronoi diagram on our picture that they've given to us. So we're choosing which of these lines we want to have. Now, if we want the perpendicular bisector between B and C, then that means we want this line here. We want the perpendicular bisector between A and B, which is this line here. And then we want the perpendicular bisector between A and C, and we can see this one here is the one that cuts in half A and C, and therefore we want this one here. So that is the finished Voronoi diagram that you should then leave it as. So for this question, the first one is 2 marks. There's one for finding the gradient and one for finding the equation. 2 marks for the next one is just one for the x and one for the y coordinate. And then the last question is for shading on the correct lines. If you got all 3 lines correct, it's A2, and if you got 2 of them correct, then it's 1 mark. Okay, if you only got 1 of them correct, then there is no marks available.